Hello. Um, so the topic we cover today here is about integrating Swagger API specifications into API gateway configuration workflow with GitOps mechanism. In this session, we will be talking about how a developer-generated API spec document can be part of a infrastructure configuration workflow, and how do we do that with a mechanism called GitOps. Myself, Anis Anakot. I'm a principal software engineer with the networking and cloud team, Citrix. So before we get to the details, this is something for all of us to read. Okay, so our agenda today. So we'll definitely start with our mechanism, which is GitOps. So this is mostly helpful for the people who was not aware of what GitOps is, and then details of the mechanism. And then we'll be talking a lot about APIs all over the place. So we'll talk about API structure and how do we use that and how do we document that. And then we talk about the workflow, and in each aspect of the workflow, who are the stakeholder, whether it's a developer, DevOps, etc. And followed by a demo. So let's start with what is GitOps. GitOps is an operational framework that takes DevOps best practices used for application development into infrastructure management. For example, developers use Git for a lot of things like version control, code review, CI/CD integration, and collaboration, etc. And why not use the same principle uh, into infrastructure management as well? So that means when you treat your infrastructure as code, basically you have your configuration files and then your scripts. You have build them and then check into a repo, and then you can apply all those principles like version control, reviews, and the CI/CD integration to these artifacts as well, and build your infrastructure out of it. That gives a unique ability, like your infrastructure state management will be better automated using this overall workflow. So whoever is generating this artifacts, they check set in, and they let generate a possible pull request, and people can review it. And once the review is approved, it could be merged to the deployment branch, and then a CI/CD pipeline can pick it up and then go ahead and then apply it. So this is the next level of infrastructure automation using Git. So GitOps as such follows certain pattern. So here the developers or DevOps, they check in their artifacts or documents into a Git repository, and there would be a CI/CD pipeline which picks it up and then takes it to deployment in case of an application undeveloped. But in case of infrastructure, what we do have a GitOps agent, which is sitting along with the orchestrated deployment environment. So which keeps looking at Git for any changes in this configuration files. And the moment it detects a change, pulls that file and then it translates that into configurations and then applies them, and then keeps watching to make sure like the intended state of the infrastructure remains is in sync with the state declared in the Git. So this is more or less like handling your infrastructure state declaratively with the help of a Git repo and basic GitOps principle. So GitOps operator is the key piece here. Now let's look at a little bit about APIs and API pattern and an example for an OpenAPI spec document. So this is typical API patterns like any HTTP API. If you look at it, that will have methods like get, post. Basically, these are verbs, and it will have certain status code defined, like it could be 2xx, 3xx, 4xx, extra. And then you have endpoint names in certain format. For example, /product is an endpoint name, and /product42 is an endpoint name, and you call that as a resource path. And then you have API parameters. So there are different ways you can pass parameters into an API. It could be an path param, or it could be a URL param, and these parameters are used for control the behavior of an API as well, in generic behavior of an API as well. For example, the sort orders, the pagination, extra is also done using parameters. And then, of course, versioning is another aspect which can be embedded into a API endpoint name specification. For example, v1.product/42. And this information can be very handy too, for driving your traffic to respective version of your backend. And this is an example for one of the OpenAPI specification implementation. So here, what you see here is we have an API called pet. It takes a path param called pet ID, and the method it support is get, and it has a tag called pet, and it has a summary description, and this is a kind of content type it responds with, and these are the parameters which that API accept. So this is how developers record their API specification for their next level to consume. For example, if a client is writing a mobile application consuming this API, you just need to look at this, then he knows how to access this API. Or a peer developer who is writing another service which is using this APIs to access certain properties of this service, they can just look at this and then build their system accordingly. So what in our context, what we are looking at is like what information from these spec documents we can take and then use that for driving your infrastructure configuration. Now a little bit about Citrix API Gateway, which is our configuration target. So Citrix API Gateway is a ADC which is used to serve APIs and then apply policies on those APIs. So to configure these policies, we go with Kubernetes custom resource definitions, which is a declarative way of configuring Kubernetes infrastructure. And we have built CRDs for various levels of API gateway configuration. For example, at the L7 level, we have HTTP route CRD, which is a way to declaratively configure the routing patterns. And then we have rewrite CRD, which talks about how do you do a content rewrite. It could be a URL rewrite or a header rewrite. And then we have a responder policy, which talks about if certain criteria are met, or sometimes if not met, then respond in certain manner. And then you have security related policies. This is of very big importance in an API gateway context. We have a rate limiting policy, we have authorization, we have authentication. These all are again like custom resource definitions. And then we have advanced security. So if you look at the web application firewall offering, that is again like exposed as a custom resource definition, and then we have an upcoming CRD for the bot management for identifying and then acting on and the bot traffic which your system receives. And the consumer for these CRDs are typically two kinds. One is developers. Developers deal with policies which is local to their apps and services and affect their the behavior of their piece in the system. And then the DevOps, and then they are largely in control of policies which has a global or organization-wide effect. So they will be managing a couple of policies what we have described here. And let's see, like, how do we stitch all these things together and then form a workflow. So we have seen what GitOps is, then we have looked at how an API look like and how an API spec look like, and then we looked at what is a API gateway, and then what is the mode of configuring the same. Now let's look at like how do we form a workflow with all these pieces put together. Okay. So let's look at like how does this workflow comes into picture when a developer is involved. So developers usually deal with their own development environment. They will have a development cluster. They manage and on the policies and of course application end to end. So in that workflow, they again like build their source code, build their applications, and then they just checks it into the repo. Along with that, they will also write their API spec, and that is also being checked into the source code repo. Now our controller, which is sitting in the development environment, which keep looking at this repo, they just goes and then grab this API specification and start configuring the infra. Now, when it comes to, let's say, like a production cluster, there not only the developers, it's mostly it's handled with DevOps, and then developers has very minimal access to that. So in such environments, the policies and the configuration, everything is managed by DevOps, and developers still continue to do what they used to do in terms of their code and their API spec. They write both and then just checks into the source code repo. So rest of the workflow is managed and then triggered by the DevOps. So they form the policies, they form the configurations, which tells the controller like where is the this API spec documents which a developer checked in, and how do you map them to the policies. And of course there is a feedback loop which looks at this applied policies and then making sure your intended state is in sync with your infra or your API gateway actual state. Now, before we get to more details, let's have a closer look at the things we were talking about. The first thing we spoke about was about APIs and the Swagger spec. So here in this the first block, what you see is an example Swagger spec. So the lines which is marked in red rectangle shows the attributes which we are or our system is specifically interested in. For example, we are interested in the base path, we are interested in the path, we are interested in the method. In this case, our base path is v2, our path is pet, so the combined path would be /v2/pet, and the method, our here in this example, it's a post. And then we are also interested in the tags of an API. We use that as a selector. We'll come to that later. And also, if you look at a Swagger or Swagger specification, what you see is like it has API details, but it doesn't usually contain much details about the policies to be applied on that API, except for the security policy, because the people who's writing their claims, they need to know what kind of authentication or authorization expectations this API has. So they usually factor this in the document so that the developers on the other side can look at this and then code accordingly. So authentication is one of them. So here in this example, if you see, right, there is a section like for this API/pet, apply the security like pet store auth, and have write and read authorization for the client. And this is what a developer brings into the equation. Now let's get to the DevOps side. So DevOps, as usual, they own the policies, and they apply the policy templates. So the difference between an actual CRD or a policy implementation, what traditionally DevOps applies versus a policy template is both contains policy details as and they're kind of same. There is no difference. Policy details could be exactly the same, but only difference is in our GitOps workflow, the DevOps won't fill where to apply the policies. Here, if you look at the service name is empty, and URLs to be applied, URLs for this policy to be applied, that is again empty. So in a regular workflow, when this DevOps or the Ops guys supposed to fill in these details and then apply the policy CRD. So in this case, they don't fill in any of the target related details and just submit this. So we call that as a policy template. So who's fill that things in, right? So because somebody needs to be filling in this pet here so that the policy is to be applied when someone is trying to access the pet API, right? So how does that thing gets filled in automatically? That is done by our last block. We call that as an API gateway deployment CRD. So here you see like multiple sections here. The first section is, of course, something this system need to know, like where do we find this API specification documents. So you need a repository URL, basically the URL of your Git repo where this API spec resides, and credentials to access that, and which file exactly carries this API spec. It's possible like multiple teams or multiple products may have their own independent API specifications. So you need to be exact. Like, okay, this is the API file you are interested in. Then, since this is this piece will drive the end-to-end configuration of an API gateway, we need to be told. I mean, the system need to be told like where does the client can connect to access this API, and how do that get configured. So that is the section of API proxy. So there you need to be told what is a VIP or your endpoint IP where you will expose this API in, and what is a port, protocol, and if it's an SSL one, you'll talk about your secret details as well. And the next and most critical part is the policy mapping. So here you would say, like, you will say you definitely can give a policy name, could be anything, and then you just say like you need to apply a select. So here what you are saying is, in this policy or API specification file, any API which is matching this pattern, which is /pet and then star, this is a regex pattern, and is either get or post, send it to this particular upstream in this port, and then, or before you send it, apply this policy, and policy type is a write policy, and policy name is prefix URL. So if you see, follow the green arrow here, you see like we are referring this policy template here for the APIs which is matching this pattern. And if you look at this, follow this first red arrow here, you see this path is definitely matching this particular selector. And this upstream piece is something a developer need to be communicating with the DevOps about, like, where is this API hosted, in which backend service. Once we have API discovery in place, this can be automated, but as of now, this is something need to be communicated from the developer or the writer of the API to the person who is managing the infra and who's owning this particular configuration. And so we have seen, like, we can have a path pattern and use that to select the API. We also support another way to select the API using the stacks. So in the stacks, what you see here, you can actually say, like, okay, in the selector, say tag play. Here we are saying if any of this tag matches, then for that API, send it to this service and apply this policy, right? That's one thing. And then when it comes to mapping the authentication details, as I was explaining, all the details is something is part of the Swagger spec itself, and there is a direct mapping in the spec for each API and what is the kind of auth it requires, or if it doesn't require any auth, that is also captured here. So here we don't need to say in this API gateway deployment document, we don't need to map it to a particular pattern or a tag. All we need to tell this one is which CRD is our auth template. We just give the CRD name, and then developers are or the API designer is free to choose any name they want for their API spec, their security definition. They just say, I'm writing a pet store related thing. I want to call it as a pet store auth, and this is my authorization. So, and somebody who's writing a Play Store, they may call it as a Play Store auth, and then they will give their own name and their own authorization here. So someone has to be mapping these to the actual authentication policies available in the system. So here, this is where the mapping is. So if somebody says pet store auth, that means it is mapped to a JWT auth provider in the backend. And if somebody says an API key, this is mapped to an introspect auth provider. This basically keeps it flexible for developers to go and write whatever they want, and then later all they need to communicate is like, okay, here when I say pet store auth, all I want is JWT auth, and then this mapping can be captured here. This is helpful even like onboarding your legacy Swagger specifications. And the good news is, if the developers or the designers, API designers, are aware of what is the policy available in the backend, they could just say like JWT auth provider here. Then that means you don't need to provide any mapping. It just maps automatically. Okay, so this is the three kind of entities in this overall workflow. We'll keep referring these three things here. So just to recap, right? So we have two stakeholders. One is a developer, other one is the ops team. It could be DevOps or SecOps. So DevOps brings in all the template CRDs, and they own the listener, basically the actual API gateway instance, and then they decide mapping, like what kind of rate limit or WAF to be applied where. And then the developer, of course, he writes the code, he builds the app, and then he writes the API specification. Then he also knows, okay, for my API, this is the upstream or backend service. So this is something he brings into the workflow. So this is how our stakeholders and their what they brings into the system will look like. Now let's get to the demo details. So before we actually start the demo, just want to give a background of what is the setup and structure of the demo, right? So in all over in the previous slides, we were talking about there will be a developer who will bring the Swagger definitions. So in this demo, we have seen, like we will see a developer. He is the owner of 3 microservices. One is a pet service, the other one is a user service, and the third one is a Play Store service. Pet service and the user service are kind of related, so he just probably they're part of the same product. So he put all the related APIs into this one single YAML, which is pet store Swagger. It has API details of the user service. It has API details of the pet service. And then there is a different team who's writing a Play Store. They have all their APIs in the Play Store Swagger.yaml. And this is something they just checked into the Git. Now, DevOps comes into picture. DevOps, as we discussed, DevOps control all the policies. So they prepare the templates, right? Some of the templates they are prepared upfront, some of them they will form on demand. But as we seen, templates, it doesn't talk about where to apply them. It's just policy specification only. And then to stitch this the Swagger and this templates together, DevOps apply this API gateway CRD. As we have seen, this contains information about where is the Git location, and then what is the which endpoint you will expose this APIs, and how do you map this APIs into the policies. So this is something developer applies. Now the component which does the magic or act as a GitOps agent in our case is our Citrix ingress controller. This is a ingress controller used for configuring Citrix ADC in Kubernetes environment. So we added Git Watcher and Swagger parsing features into it to double that as a GitOps agent as well. And that basically gives us a lot of advantage in terms of reusing the CRD infra, because we are talking about all these templates are CRDs, what we generate as CRDs. So that's the reason we doubled up CIC as a Git agent as well as of now. And now CIC pulls this information from the templates, this API gateway CRD, and then apply that on the APIs applied, I mean the APIs and the API spec, and then it start churning out ADC configurations or the API gateway configuration. And again, API gateway configurations are nothing but CRDs. So this is nothing but pickup template, fill the upstream or service name and the URL details from the Swagger file. There you get your generated CRDs for your final configuration. So in our example, we know we have one single endpoint to expose to 3 different services, and all our APIs are mapped into 3 different services. So there is a there are APIs which goes to user service, there are APIs which goes to pet service, there are APIs which goes to play service. So that's why you see 3 kind of routing CRDs generated. And then you have a bunch of policies. We have some of the APIs need a fast rate limiting, some of the API need like a little bit slow rate limiting. So accordingly, you will map the APIs into 2 different templates, and then you provide the API gateway rate limit fast and API gateway rate limit slow. And then you have a WAF template. So some of the APIs will get mapped to that, and then we have an auth template. So based on how your Swagger specification demands authentication to be applied, you will generate auth CRDs as well. So this is what we will be running through in the demo. So let's go to the demo. Okay, so before getting to the demo, in the interest of time, I have already applied my template CRDs, which is the DevOps role. And I have all the API specification documents checked into the Git. That is also ready here now. Now, before getting to the demo details, I want to go over little detailed into this API gateway policy CRD. So here you see our first block is the one which says DevOps fill this, because developer communicates to the DevOps like, okay, I have checked in my APIs in this playstore.yaml, and it's available in this particular Git repo, and these are the credentials. So now DevOps will form the CRD and then key in these details here. And now, as we said, the ops on the endpoint, like where the client will contact to access this API. So that specification is also part of the CRD here. It's saying like this is IP address port and this is a secret. Basically, it's a SSL endpoint. So those details are also specified here. Now, this is the most critical part, which is our policy pass. Here we are saying like policy block 1, P1. If any API from any Swagger definition which matches this pattern, and it is either get or post, forward it to PET service and apply this policy rate limit slope. Similarly for P2 as well. Now in P3 we are using a different mechanism to map. If you look at P1 and P2, we have given like, okay, match it if the path pattern matches. But you can also say like you remember the tags in the API spec document. So if the tag matches to this, if any API with a tag like play, forward it to the substream and then apply all these policies in here. So this particular case we have play service and then play. This is I will use that in the demo or down the line. So just look at this carefully. Like any API with this tag matches, apply this rate limit, apply this prefix rewrite, and apply this WAF. So this is how a typical API gateway CRD would look like. Now let's go and apply. Right. Okay, before applying, I just want to go over the Kubernetes state just to show you like what is the templates applied and then some example template. Okay, it looks like it's timed out. Let me log in again. Right. Okay, let me pause the recording for a moment. Okay, I'm back. So now we logged into the Kubernetes cluster. So here, let's look at the existing custom resource definitions. We do have all our policy templates applied here. And here you could see a write policy. This is a prefix URL as a template applied. As you can see here, there is no URLs as part of this policy. And even service name is empty. Similarly, we have like other policies as well. For example, you have this two kind of rate limit templates. Here again, path is empty, service names are empty. That means it has not decided that this where do you apply this. Right now, before we get into like actually applying the CRD, I also want to show the developer state. So the developer has already checked in his YAML files, it's Pet Store and Play Store. So let's look at one of them. Right. So this is a typical Swagger file would look like. Here I was talking about the Play APIs, which is matched by the tag Play. When we were looking at the API gateway CRD YAML, this is what I was talking about. So this APIs will match that policy, and all the policies will be applied there. That. Now let's for that. I'm trying to access one of the API which we have here. Since there is no path set, no policy set, it's all, nothing is available right now. Though the microservice, which is an echo server, which represents this Play service, is running there. But there is no infrastructure is not configured for that kind of routing yet. So let's apply this CRD. right? So it's being applied, and now let's look at what is the state of our configurations. Let's look at rewrite policy. We had only the template, which is this one without any URL and policy. But now after applying this API Gateway CRD, we could see like the template, from out of the template, we generated an actual policy instance with the matching APIs are filled in, right? So anything which with the pol tag play will be matched and then applied with this particular policy, rewrite policy. And the rewrite policy, what the role here is, if any URL which is going to play service as a backend and matches any of these path patterns, rewrite their URLs with this particular prefix. That is the policy applied. Now let's look at, right, we'll pick up one of these APIs and then access that. Yeah, that's what it is. So here, if you see it, this is the URL we applied. And if you see, this is basically an echo server customized to for the demo. So here we see like it echoed back the path, what it received. So here we see the path is modified with this particular prefix, which we mentioned here. So that means the path is set, the policy is applied. I'll also show you the routing configuration which is generated out of it. So here we see this. Here, if you see, this route configuration is also generated. If any of this path matches, let's go and hit this particular backend. That is also done. So the route is set, the policies are applied, all done the moment you apply that, the API Gateway CRD. Now, let's look at two different use cases here, right? Let's say we are talking about a use case where a developer is continuing his development. Now he want to add one more API to his API spec. That means we assume, like in the interest of time, we assume he has already written the code and then the image is already deployed, but he is yet to add his spec into, I mean, he is yet to add this API into the spec file. So let's apply that. I'm just copying it instead of typing. It could take a long time to type. So the API I'm adding newly is like playout, and it has a tag play. That means it will match one of the policies which we discussed. So he added that set and then he commits. Okay, so now let's look at which policy this would match. So it won't match the policy P1 because it doesn't have a URL like pet. It won't match P2 because it doesn't have a URL like P2. And the P3, it doesn't have a URL kind of selector, but it has a selector which says like, if it has a tag, apply these things. Since when we also copied the tag for this new API. Obviously, this is the policy it would match. So let's look at like whether that is applied and then how it is applied. So let's try to see like. So the first thing we need to look at is like whether our routes are set for this new API or not. So we come to the policy. Yeah, here you can see our new API playout. The route is set for that, and it says like for this pattern, apply that to play service. Okay, and let's look at the policy, whether the policies are also updated with that. Right, you could see in our rewrite policy, playout is part of that, is added to that. Now, if we try to access it, it should go through. Right, it went through. You can see we are getting a modified path back in here. That means the route is set properly and the policy for redirect is also rewrite is also applied. Now, so this is like all developer had to do is like he just come and then modifies his Swagger file add his new API or remove his API or modify his API and save it and check in. That's it. It actually goes and start putting the configuration into the ADC. The whole chain of events will be triggered and the configuration is propagated till our target. Now let's look at another case, right? Like now from the angle of a DevOps guy. Let's say DevOps decides like, okay, I am not happy with my template, my rewrite policy template. I don't want to continue with this rewrite scheme, which is basically the rewrite string, and I want to bring something new, kind of a prefix for all my APIs. So he just decides like a new rewrite prefix, right? And then he saves it. That's it. Now let's look at whether that is reflected back in the CRDs which is generated. This is our generated CRD. Yeah, it seems to have reflected into the generated CRDs as well. You modify the template, it goes and then change already generated CRDs, and the same will be applied already to the infrastructure, which is our ADC as well. Let's see like if that is applied. So this is our old invocation. Here we see our old modified prefix. Now let's access it once again and then see if the policy is applied. Yeah, you could see even the policy is applied and then it has taken an effect in the ADC. That's why we see our new modified string in place. So here again, like all DevOps has to do is he come and then changes policy template, and that's propagated back into all the generated CRDs, and in turn that gets configured into the ADC as well. So this is what we wanted to demo. So any questions, any discussions, any feedback, feel free to provide same in the scheduled Slack session. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your time.